You prayed for clarity this week and heard nothing. That silence is shaping your decisions more than you realize. On one hand, it feels like God stepped back. On the other, what if the signal is constant and your life is too loud to receive it? I'm speaking to the 10% who don't want emotional comfort. You want spiritual accuracy. If you remove 6 blockers: distraction, talking without listening, ignored conviction, unforgiveness, disobedience, and neglecting scripture, you don't just feel better. You regain clarity. This isn't about hype. It's about cause and effect. Think of your heart like a radio, slightly off frequency. The broadcast hasn't stopped, but every notification, every scroll, every unresolved resentment is static. The claim is simple. It's not that God is silent. Your spirit is crowded. Let's test that step by step. You asked God for direction about a relationship, a decision, a next move. Days passed. No clarity, no inner confirmation, just mental noise. A thought forms. Maybe he's not speaking. That silence starts to shape your behavior. You hesitate. You overanalyze. You ask 5 more people for advice. You substitute podcasts for prayer. Not because you stopped believing, but because you stopped expecting clarity. The common explanation feels safe. Life is busy. You're tired. Of course, it's hard to focus. Scripture says something sharper. In 1 Kings 19:12, the voice of God is a still small voice. Not dramatic, not overwhelming. Still. Psalm 46:10 says, "Be still." Not perform more, not speak louder. Be still. We want unmistakable volume, but the pattern described is subtle. Picture a radio slightly off frequency. The station is broadcasting. Instead of adjusting the dial slowly, you spin it quickly and conclude. There's no signal. That's how much spiritual frustration works. Before going deeper, evaluate one metric from the last 7 days. How many uninterrupted minutes did you sit in silence before speaking in prayer? Not multitasking, not scrolling, just still. If the number is under 5, the problem may not be silence from heaven. This is step 1 of 5. Anchor the frustration. Don't solve it yet. Measure it. Until you separate perceived silence from actual signal loss, you can't diagnose correctly. In the next 5 minutes, one daily habit will shape whether your clarity rises or keeps declining. This is for the 10% who want measurable growth. Start with what feels harmless: distraction. Every scroll, every notification, every split attention moment, your mind is scattered across dozens of small stimuli each day. Of course, clarity feels weaker, that's true, but incomplete. Psalm 119-105 calls the word a lamp to your feet. A lamp isn't a stadium light. It gives enough light for the next step. If your environment is flooded with competing light, you stop noticing the lamp. Here's a comparison. Before you wake up, check messages within 2 minutes. Consume 3 inputs before prayer. Your attention is already divided. After you delay input by 10 minutes, open scripture first. Read 1 psalm slowly. Then sit still for 3 minutes. The first pattern trains your brain for constant novelty. The second trains it for sustained attention. Neuroscience calls this attentional conditioning. Scripture calls it being still. Consider this. The average phone user checks their device 8,120 times. Per Dalton Y. If each check takes 20 seconds of mental reorientation, that's 30-40 minutes of switching cost. Each switch fragments working memory. Fragmented memory reduces depth. Reduced depth weakens reflection. The result? You read scripture but don't absorb it? One person tried a 24-hour experiment, no phone until after morning prayer. Reading time stayed at 10 minutes, but recall increased. Same Bible, same duration, different mental state, different outcome. The chain looks like this. Constant novelty leads to dopamine spikes, which shorten attention span, which increase discomfort in silence, which leads to avoidance of stillness, which feels like silence from God. Clarity didn't disappear. Your tolerance for quiet decreased. Think of attention like soil. If you keep turning it every 90 seconds, no seed can take root. The word is the seed. Distraction is repeated disturbance. You wouldn't blame the seed for not growing in constantly overturned ground? Many people stop here. They blame busyness, and move on. That keeps things comfortable. Distraction feels accidental. It doesn't confront you. It offers an easy fix. Take a break. So you go offline for 2 days. Silence feels good. You journal, you pray. Clarity improves. Monday comes. Notifications resume? Within 72 hours, you're back to baseline. If distraction were the only issue, a change of environment would fix it. It doesn't. That's the clue. Try this in the next 24 hours. Trigger alarm rings. Action. Don't touch your phone for 10 minutes. Replacement. Read 10 verses. Sit in silence for 3 minutes. Reward, write 1 sentence, summarizing what you sensed or learned. Measure recall at night. If you can repeat the sentence clearly, attention improved. If not, input likely overwhelmed output. That was step 2 of 5. Identify the obvious blocker. Step 3 goes deeper. The issue isn't just volume, it's response. Even in a noisy world, obedience sharpens hearing. Ignoring quiet nudges dulls it. Here's the choice. Option A. Blame the environment. Reduce noise occasionally. Stay comfortable. Option B. Retrain attention daily. Build stillness as a skill. Accept discomfort. Both sound spiritual. Only one produces consistent clarity. Which experiment will you run tomorrow morning? A or B? In the next 60 days, one pattern will determine whether your sensitivity increases or fades into background noise. Most people think distance from God happens because he stops speaking. The text doesn't support that. John 10:27 says, "My sheep hear my voice." Hearing is tied to identity. Following is tied to hearing. We assume clarity comes before obedience. If God makes it obvious, I'll act. Scripture often shows the reverse. 1 Samuel 15:22 says obedience is better than sacrifice. Sacrifice can be dramatic but delayed. Obedience is immediate and specific. Consider conviction, the nudge to apologize, to stop a habit, to forgive. To make restitution, to close the laptop at 10:30 instead of midnight, to delete the number, to return extra money. The first time you ignore it, you feel tension. The second time, less. By the 10th time, almost none. That isn't God withdrawing. It's sensitivity adjusting. Behaviorally, this is reinforcement learning. When you respond quickly, the pathway strengthens. When you resist, it weakens. Case 1. Apology delayed. Day 1. Conviction 8/10. You rationalize. No apology. Day 3. Tension fades. Conviction 4/10. Week 2. Relationship feels distant. You call it busyness. Case 2. Immediate response. Day 1. You act within 12 hours. Result. Relief. Restored connection. Next time, the signal feels clearer. Speed of obedience increases signal strength. Before, notice conviction fading, rationalize and delay, silence. After, notice conviction 4 hours, 24 hours. Increased clarity next time. In the past 30 days, how many times did you sense a correction? And act within 24 hours. If it's under 5, your response loop is undertrained. Ignored conviction dulls perception because repeated non-response teaches your brain the signal isn't essential. The brain reduces attention to it. Obedience isn't about earning favor. It maintains sensitivity. Add modern habits. Split attention across endless feeds. Psalm 46:10 says, "Be still." Attention shapes perception. If it's fragmented for hours each day, subtle conviction competes with high stimulation input. Option A, 90 minutes of fragmented phone use after 9 p.m. lowers sensitivity. Option B, 30-minute device cutoff 5e brief reflection 7 tiving, higher recall of conviction. Step 2. Unresolved offense increases dullness. Mark 11:25 connects forgiveness directly to prayer. When you stand praying, if you hold anything against anyone, forgive. Unforgiveness fills your mind with emotional noise. Example, you pray about a career decision while replaying a 3-month-old conflict. Rumination consumes mental bandwidth. Subtle guidance gets crowded out. Forgiveness clears space. Try this in 24 hours. 1. Identify one unresolved offense. 2. Name it in prayer tonight. 3. Tomorrow morning. Sit in silence for 10 minutes with no phone. 4. Note whether clarity feels sharper. Write observations before and after. Repeated non-response trains you not to notice. That's step 3 of 5. Now, step 4. When sensitivity declines, 3 substitutions appear. First, emotion replaces guidance. If it feels peaceful, you assume it's right. If anxious, wrong. But anxiety can signal growth. Discomfort doesn't equal misalignment. Mark 11:25 ties forgiveness to prayer clarity. If emotional discomfort is misread as warning, you avoid obedience. Second, majority opinion replaces conviction. If enough people affirm it, you call it confirmation. 12 friends approve a relationship that pulls you from Scripture. 2 mature believers raise concerns based on patterns. Which carries more weight? Acts 5 shows the majority can be wrong. John 10:27 describes personal listening, not crowd consensus. Third, urgency replaces wisdom. If it feels time-sensitive, you assume it's God. Scripture rarely shows God as frantic. Psalm 46:10 says, "Be still." Urgency often comes from fear, not obedience. Try this diagnostic. Delay every non-emergency decision by 12 hours. Write it down. Wait, pray. Revisit in the morning with Psalm 119 open. Rate clarity from 1 to 10 before and after. Many report a 3-point increase. That's reduced cognitive load. Discernment is like a camera lens. Each compromise is a fingerprint. One doesn't blur the image. 30 days without cleaning does. Drift is rarely dramatic. It's small and repeated. In aviation, a 1-degree deviation over 500 miles shifts your landing point by miles. In decisions, a 1-degree drift over 12 months reshapes your direction. Career, marriage, calling. Option A. Equate emotion with guidance. Short-term comfort. Long-term confusion. Option B. Anchor emotion under Scripture. Short-term discomfort. Long-term precision. When was the last time you mistook emotion, majority opinion, or urgency for God's voice? Option A. Emotion. Option B. Crowd. Option C. Urgency. Choose one. Step 5. Recalibrate behavior. Tip 1. Create daily stillness. Schedule 5 uninterrupted minutes before digital input. Complete 7 consecutive days. Restart if you miss one. Tip 2. Obey small nudges within 24 hours. Send the apology. End the compromise. Complete 3 immediate obediences in 1 week. Tip 3. Remove unforgiveness. List unresolved resentment. Pray Mark 11:25 over each name. Aim for 0 names by week's end. Tip 4. Return to daily scripture. Read 1 psalm. Per Dalton Y. for 14 days. Write 1 sentence. Today's lamp showed me _______. Complete 14 entries. Silence reduces noise. Obedience strengthens signal. Forgiveness clears interference. Scripture sets direction. This isn't about chasing feelings. It's about clarity. If the issue is mainly external, comment, reduce noise. If it's mainly internal, comment, strengthen signal. If you're resetting both, type, speak, Lord. Choose your diagnosis. Reduce noise, strengthen signal, or speak, Lord. What decision are you making today?